All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a book that has, no exaggeration, changed millions of lives. Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. Our mission? To break down its most powerful ideas into one solid explainer. Let's get into it. So, you know that feeling, right? You get all fired up, you start a new diet, a new workout plan, a big project, and you're all in. For like a few weeks. And then, poof, you're right back where you started. It is so frustrating. But according to Robbins, there's a very real reason this happens to pretty much all of us. So yeah, if that frustration sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It's what Robbins calls the cycle of frustration. And there's a specific reason we get stuck in this loop. Let's dig into why that lasting change we want so badly often feels just completely out of reach. And here's the core of the problem, and it's surprisingly simple. We don't focus our power. We just dabble. We scatter our energy on trivial stuff, or as he puts it, we major in minor things. We never truly commit and decide to master what actually matters. Robbins uses this incredible metaphor of the river of life. He says most of us just kind of jump in and go with the flow. We just react to whatever's happening around us. We drift and drift until one day we hear this huge roaring sound and we realize we're just about to go over Niagara Falls. You know, a huge crisis. And by then, it's way too late to change course. Okay, so if just drifting along is the problem, how do we actually start steering our own ship? Well, it all begins with understanding the one single force that shapes everything we do. This is the engine behind every single human action. And here it is. This is the big aha moment of the whole book. It's this simple. Everything we do is driven by these twin forces of pain and pleasure. We are always, automatically, moving away from what we think will cause us pain and moving toward what we think will bring us pleasure. That's it. That's the secret. Just think about procrastination for a second. Why do we finally get around to doing something we've been putting off forever, like our taxes? It's only when the pain of not doing it, the stress, the fear of getting fined, finally becomes bigger and more painful than the pain of actually sitting down and doing the dang thing. So now we understand our own driving force. But how do we actually use it to our advantage? This is where Robbins gives us a really clear three-part blueprint to create real, lasting change in pretty much any area of your life. This is it. This is the blueprint for a total transformation. It all kicks off with raising your standards for what you demand from yourself. But new standards are totally useless if you don't change the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And finally, once you have the right mindset, you can find a better strategy to get the results you want. Let's break each of these down real quick. Step 1 is all about raising your standards. This means you have to decide, without a doubt, what you will no longer tolerate from yourself and what you are absolutely committed to becoming. Just think about people like Abraham Lincoln or Rosa Parks. Their greatness started the second they made a new demand on themselves and just said, no more. This stops now. Okay, but high standards alone aren't going to cut it. Step 2 is you have to change your beliefs. Why? Because your beliefs are these unquestioned commands that are constantly running your brain. If you don't truly believe you can meet your new standards, guess what? You won't. Gandhi didn't just hope for change. He had this unshakable certainty that his method would work. That certainty is what gave him his power. And finally, step 3 is all about strategy. Look, lots of people know what to do. Very few people actually do what they know. You have to find a strategy that works and then just go for it. Take Soichiro Honda, the guy who founded Honda. He faced failure after failure. I mean, war, earthquakes, no money. But he just kept changing his strategy and taking massive action until he finally broke through. So we have the 3-step blueprint. But how do we actually wire this stuff into our brains so it becomes automatic? This is where we get the master tool for making it all stick. The tool is called Neuro-Associative Conditioning, or NAC for short. Now that sounds super technical, I know, but the idea is actually really simple.
It's about consciously using those twin forces of pain and pleasure to rewire your own brain. The goal is to link so much unbearable pain to your old bad habit that you're just disgusted by it, and at the same time, link incredible, amazing pleasure to the new habit you want.
And the process for doing this is pretty straightforward. First, you have to get leverage on yourself. You have to turn your should into an absolute must. Second, you have to physically and mentally interrupt your old limiting pattern the second it starts. And third, you immediately install a new empowering alternative. Football legend Fran Tarkenton used this to quit chewing tobacco. He literally imagined things like mouth cancer so vividly that even the thought of tobacco started to make him feel sick. Okay, this brings us to the final and honestly the most empowering piece of this entire puzzle. This is where you take everything we've just talked about and you use it to consciously, deliberately shape your own destiny. Ultimately, everything we've discussed boils down to the power of a single decision. But Robbins draws a massive line in the sand between just stating a preference, like saying, yeah, I'd like to quit smoking, and making a true decision. The word decide actually comes from Latin roots that mean to cut off. When you truly decide something, you cut off any other possibility. It's done. There is no plan B. And this is the ultimate takeaway. Your entire life comes down to your moments of decision. Think about Rosa Parks one more time. Her quiet action on that bus back in 1955, that wasn't a preference. That was a true decision. She cut herself off from the possibility of giving up her seat. And in that one single moment of decision, her destiny and the destiny of millions was shaped forever. So, I'll leave you with this. Using this framework, you now have the power to make a new, true decision right now, today, that can change the entire course of your life. So the question is, what one decision will you make to awaken your giant within?